It's time for Commonwealth Common Sense with Susan Stimson and Kevin Scholla.
Hey, Susan, how are you?
Kevin, I'm doing great. I know you don't have much of a voice this week, and I'm sorry about that, but one of the things I thought we could talk about was what is happening in our world, and most importantly, what has just happened in France, the attack there on innocent people by religious zealots.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and lots of issues come into play, censorship and many other things, hypocrisy for sure. You know, you can bash Christians and Jews, but, you know, you talk about Islam and people get killed. I mean, it's unbelievable. They held huge marches this past weekend in France, which was encouraging to see. But it would be a little more encouraging maybe if some of these European countries had the freedoms and liberties that we had and folks might have been able to defend themselves.
Well, I will say here in America, the idea that our founding fathers put together a government that believes that our individual rights come from a creator. They do not come from the government. And the right to bear arms is essential to protecting and securing every single person's right to life and to liberty and to pursuit of happiness. And for America to understand, you know, and to have an awakening. For us here in America, we certainly have many tragedies, and we're seeing crimes day after day. What happened in France, though, without those citizens having any arms to bear them to defend themselves, I think that we just need to be very, very aware of what's happening around the world and how important it is to protect every person's right to have an opinion on religion, have an opinion on life in general, and that we should be able to have that freedom of speech and to talk about it without fearing loss of our lives.
And then how about American media outlets? Some of them, you know, still would never publish anything like they did in France, yet, you know, shots at Christ or shots at Judaism, that's A-okay.
Right. Well, I would say that, you know, in Christianity, that it's your free will, and you choose whether or not you are going to believe in the God of we Christians. And some of the other groups that I don't think really even represent religion. I think that they're just representing, you know, criminals who have a quest for power. I think that that's really what's at the heart of what's going on.
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, it's scary in so many ways. I mean, you know, the police officer, of course, in France. I mean, you know, these are people just doing their job, going to work like anybody else, and then to have these maniacs coming at you over a cartoon or whatever the heck it is, and then for people to not use the word Islam or an Islamic attack, I mean, it really burns people up.
At the heart of all of this is our freedom to express our views and our freedom to choose what religion we want to participate in, or if we don't want to. And that's I think the shocking piece of this to many of those who live there in France, just the horror of what happened there. And the average person, I believe, thinks that others should live their lives as they choose, and just by expressing your opinion, that does not mean that you should, you know, be killed for it, which is what happened to those in the press in France.
Yeah, well said. Well, Susan, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for bearing with me with this ridiculous voice deal. I'm going to go waterboard myself with honey and lemon.
Kevin, I hope you feel better.
Thanks, Susan.
Susan Stimson in Virginia. More Commonwealth Common Sense next week. Now our weekly commentary, Steel Resolve. Here's Sarah Steelman.
Thanks, Kevin. In one of my favorite political movies, Bulworth, there's a great line from one of the street-smart ghetto guys who tells Bulworth, using slightly different words, if we don't have anything to live for, then we don't have anything to die for. This is his justification for his apathy about life. Thankfully, Senator McConnell understands this concept in terms of Republican leadership in the United States Senate. If you give your so-called opponents, or Democrats, skin in the game, they have a reason to participate in the process. In other words, in order to make the Senate work properly, you have to give the other side an opportunity to participate. Harry Reid and his Democratic majority did everything they could to destroy the institution of the United States Senate. The Senate was designed as a body to debate, contemplate, and compromise on legislation. The House basically passes anything the Speaker desires. Individual representatives have very little power, but individual senators can use their individual power to craft, mold, and hopefully improve legislation, but not if their wings are clipped, as Harry Reid managed to do. The Republicans need to stick to their plan of allowing debate and amendments from Democrats to restore the health and effectiveness of the United States Senate and hopefully the country. They may catch grief from those who don't understand the institution, but the Republicans should stand strong on this issue. It's the right thing to do for the country. This is Sarah Steelman for Mama Grizzly Radio.
Tune in again next week for another segment of Steel Resolve right here on the Palin Update. The Palin Update, including Commonwealth Common Sense and Steel Resolve, is on demand and available for download. So just head to mamagrizzlyradio.com, pick the show you want to hear, and you can listen anywhere, anytime. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. Visit mamagrizzlyradio.com for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also, like Mama Grizzly Radio on Facebook and follow along on Twitter at Mama Grizz Radio, at Kevin Scholla, at Susan B. Stimson, at Sarah_Steelman, and at 3DSTS. And I'm doing some writing for Breitbart News. Just go to Breitbart.com and search Kevin Scholla. I'm also doing a weekly segment on Eddie Burke's radio program in Alaska. It's called Bear Facts and Grizzly Details with Kevin Scholla, and you can hear it Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Alaska time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Tune in to Hot Talk, KOAN. Visit 1080KOAN.com. That's 1080KOAN.com. I want to thank Sarah Steelman, Susan Stimson, and everyone here at Mama Grizzly Radio. Thanks to Katrina Pierson, and thank you for listening today. A special thanks to our sponsor, 3D Security and Training Academy. Visit 3DSTA.com. Please be sure to join us again next time for another edition of the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day.